Lots to get to, lots to talk about. I want to start off first by thanking our affiliates, our radio affiliates across the country, our TV outlets, for understanding the last 3 weeks and being okay with us running rerun content. Thank you to you, our audience, for sticking around and for all of the inquiry, all of the messages, all of the thoughts, the prayers, the vibes, the good intentions, all of that. Because as people know, on September 12th, my wife, who is an avid motorcycle rider, loved her little 500 Harley, rode it almost daily for hours, was involved in a very serious accident. A school van, without warning, made a left-hand turn in front of her, and as the state trooper said, she didn't stand a chance, and she has been fighting for her life ever since. I am back at work because we are confident that she's going to make it and she's going to survive. Now, what that means, with all of the broken bones and all of the rehab and the trauma that she has to her head, we don't know at this point. We're hoping. There are lots of prayers and lots of thoughts and vibes, and as I said, good intentions and all of that going her way. So if that works, there's a lot of it to help her through this. And she has been a fighter through it all. And I would expect nothing less from her. And look, I've said before, I'm not an overly religious person, but there is something out there, I believe, that wants her to do well, because the response was amazing. You wouldn't have drawn up the kind of response in the moment that the accident happened until this moment. You couldn't have drawn up a better plan. And, as I try and take lessons from tragedy, one of them is that I want to live in the world that happened the moment my wife was involved in this serious accident. The moment that tragedy was in front of people, they reacted. A young woman who came to her aid, a nurse who came to her aid within seconds to ensure that her airway was clear and she wasn't going to drown in her own blood. The EMS who arrived within minutes. The state police who within several minutes arrived. The helicopter that arrived within a half an hour and was able to set down within 20 feet of where she was. The fact that we have one of the best trauma hospitals in the country within a helicopter's flight, the best surgeons, the best doctors, the best nurses, the best facilities. And nobody in any of this asked who she voted for or who she loved or what she loved or any of that. They came together as a community. They pulled together in a mission. And that's the world that I want to live in. A world where it's not about who we voted for only in the last election or what you look like. Because to be honest, from the outside, some of the people that responded, maybe you wouldn't have expected them to, in that moment, rise to the occasion and be the hero that I believe that they are. And maybe in that moment, we can find our better selves. The systems that were in place, the funding from our tax dollars, the oversight from our government, the strength of our unions, all working hand in hand simultaneously to provide the best system possible so that every step of the way, the machine was working. Good governance, good citizens. Now, we had the opportunity, as I said, we are in an area that has one of the best trauma hospitals in the country, the Hershey Medical Center. The Hershey Med Center is overwhelmingly unionized. From the people who pick up the trash and cut the grass and serve the meals and fix the plumbing and do everything there, to the people who were sticking needles in my wife's arm. represented by labor unions, empowered to do the right things at the right moment. That for me is kind of the lesson of the world that I want to move towards. The lesson of the world that I think we can and should be moving toward. A unifying moment. If there's something in this for me, if there's something in this senseless tragedy, that might be it. That in tragedy we pull together. In times of when times are tough, we pull together. My wife is one of the most amazing people I've ever met. Caring, loving, makes me want to be a better person every day. And to have something like this happen to someone like her, someone who is good and decent and honest and caring and loving and all of those things, a wonderful mother, wife, a wonderful daughter. It's heartbreaking. And while I have my anger issues with this, it really is the community, because you guys reached out in overwhelming numbers for thoughts and prayers and vibes and good intentions for my wife Carol, but also kind words for me. Even people who, this is the part where I'm going to get to that I think is most important. Even people who have over the years have told me how much they hate me, how much they hate what we stand for, what I push for. In that moment, there was kindness. In that moment, there was decency. And the more that I sit back and I think about this, and look, we're going to have our political fights. Tomorrow is going to come, and we're going to be advocating for what we think is best, pushing for policies that I think are going to be best at feeding children and ending childhood poverty and ending homelessness for veterans, and all of the things that we talk about in this program and have talked about for, we're heading towards 20 years now. We're still going to fight for those things. But I've always tried to not demonize or name call. I've tried. Maybe not always succeeded, but in this moment, my mind is taking me to this place where I'm going to try harder. Again, still going to advocate for what I believe is right. Still going to fight for the positions and the policies and the ideas and the values that I think are good, just, honest, and right. But this renewed belief that we can all come together. And maybe it's this tragedy. Maybe it's this horrific tragedy that has nearly taken my wife. And to be honest, I don't know what the future holds today going forward. I know for the first 2 weeks, they gave her almost zero hope. And she is fighting and giving us hope, more and more hope every day. And the great thing is all across, not just the country, but across the globe, there are people who are following the hashtag Carol Strong and sending incredible messages of hope, of love and understanding, sharing their stories. And if this could serve as something out of this tragedy, if something positive could possibly find its way, maybe it's that. Maybe it's that understanding that life is so fragile. I tweeted out the other day that in an instant, I have become a single parent of 2 teenagers. But the reality is my wife has done such an amazing job with our kids that I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to get through it. I think we're going to draw together, and we're going to, if not just for mom's sake, we're going to get through it.